Yo, what is going on, guys? Miguel here. So today we're going to be coming at you with a video on who you should be adding to your database when you're outdoor knocking, on top of what sort of leads are you looking for when you are outdoor knocking. Okay, so if you guys never been here before, yeah, of course my name is Miguel. I'm a licensed realtor out in London, Ontario, Canada. So that if you guys aren't familiar with Ontario, this is out in closer to the Toronto area, right? I'm currently out in Arizona. We just finished up the every year there's a Glover U retreat there, so we just finished that up, had a lot of good takeaways, and I'm just ready to go back and work in the business. Right, currently I'm working on the business. So yeah, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm just going to go right to the point. Right, so I built my whole business from door knocking, right? So and I kind of want to share with you guys who you should really be focusing on adding to your database and who's going to be worth your time, right? Because the reason why I want to bring this topic up too is because when you do go door knocking, right, the challenge you might come across is, you're focused on like how many doors you should be hitting and, all my numbers, contacts, stuff like that. But I think really what ties into your overall conversion is focusing on who needs to be added into your database, right? So I think the general consensus is, so to start things off, right, when you're door knocking, you have a few goals, right? There's really two big ones. Number one, it's not immediate business, right? So the first thing, the top priority there is actually building your database, right? You're going out there to build an empire through your database in terms of going door to door, right? So your first goal should be building your database. The second thing is finding the immediate business, right? And then the third thing would be, it kind of ties into the database, but the other thing would be like finding the referral, right? And that kind of goes towards getting them in your database, right? So I really only cover the two. And the reason why I want to bring those up is because your primary focus is building a database, right? And that all comes down to who do you want in your database, right? Because you got to look further down the line, right? It's not just like work with anyone and anybody, right? You get to a point, especially with your database, where it's going to outgrow, right? And you're going to start working with certain individuals that you get to choose from, right? And I get it. Like when you're newer, it's like you got to find that business. I understand. Like you just kind of have to take those certain deals on. You're going to, regardless of how you go across this, you're going to have clients that you're not going to like over time, right? But I think the main thing is just understanding every time you have a conversation with someone, if you really want to save your time or go further into your script, I'd itemize them as someone who you would want to work with, or if it's someone that you would want them to refer with, right? Because we all know like people like to work or hang out with people who are like-minded to them, right? And generally speaking, like if you're having a good conversation with someone at the door, you want to try your best to grab their contact information, whether or not they have any plans to sell, right? There has been a plethora of times where I have added someone to my database and they're like, yeah, I'm not moving, but I had a really good conversation with them, right? And I'm like, I would like to work with this person if anything ever happened, right? Or if they ever came across someone. So that's the mentality you got to have, is like, would I ever work with this person, and would I ever want to work with someone they could refer me to, right? Because again, too many people, you can't be short-minded when you go door knocking, right? In some like instances, right, you got to be short-minded with like people who aren't going to be worth your time, right? But what I'm saying from short-minded is you don't want to be short-minded with people with the opportunities you have. Okay, so what I mean by that is, if you're talking to someone and you're like and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not really interested, I just want to save you some time, I have no plans to make a move, do not count that dead. Okay, keep the conversation going as long as you guys had a good conversation, right? Now they might be a little bit like have their guard up, like start going into a little bit more. But what I'm saying is, if you've really fully kind of vetted them, spoken to them enough, and you're like, yeah, this isn't really worth my while, I wouldn't want to follow up with them, or I just wouldn't want to work with them in the future, then just drop it, right? You don't have to keep going in. So basically, again, anytime you want to add someone to your database, keep top of mind, is this someone I'd want to work with, and is this someone who I'd want to do business with in the future if anything ever had happened, right? So to make it short and simple for you guys, okay, if someone you're not going to convert everyone directly at the door, right? As in, like, what I mean by that is, like, you're not going to convert everyone to like an immediate listing appointment, right? That's just not the reality of the game. If they are, like, be prepared, right? Because you will every now and then come across someone who's like, yeah, we're really looking at selling, we'd love to have a home evaluation, then yes, jump on that, right? But again, like when you're talking like from the main perspective, when you're door knocking, right, you're adding people to your database. It's a slower paced game for the most part, but it pays off in the future. And this is why I want to make this video, because you don't want to be adding everyone and anyone and everyone to your database, right? Like, generally speaking, like, I'll give you guys an idea again to my own business so you guys get a better idea of where I'm going at with this. Currently, if I'm just going out door knocking random doors, my conversion is about 10%. It's 10 to 11%, okay? So that's really like what my percentage comes up on my maps. If I'm in my farm area, however, that conversion is over 20%. So every one out of four, one out of every 5 people is giving me their information. Why is that? Well, it's because I'm trying to create a name in that neighborhood, and I want as many people in my database as possible in my targeted area, right? Because I want to be the realtor of choice. At the same time, though, I'm not going into depth with everyone, right? Because if I have a conversation with them and I'm like, yeah, I don't really vibe with this person, or maybe this person is just like way too chatty or something, like someone I could just never follow up with. Like, I look at this, if I just don't want to, if I feel like it's not worth following up with them ever, or it's just gonna be like a wash of your time and they're just really not the greatest person, or they have different belief systems than you, drop it, right? Another thing too could be like, oh yeah, like I don't ever work with someone if they only did discounts, right? Like, if these people are like telling you like, yeah, I got my driveway done for like a really good discount and this, and like their home's like a bit of a mess, probably not someone you want to work with, right? Unless, hey, by all means, if you're a discount agent, like, go ahead, that might be a good lead for you, right? But if we're talking about full service, which if you're watching this, you should be a full service agent, we want to add people who are going to value our services in the long run, right? Value our services and the relationship, right? So I don't think I have to make this video super long, but I really want to emphasize this video, and I feel like it's necessary because I think a lot of people get, again, I just kind of always put myself in the shoes of a new agent, right? Because it wasn't too long ago when I was a new realtor, and I'm still obviously on the ropes. Like, I'm on the grounds running and I'm learning, right? So I always look at it as like, because when I started, right, I wanted to go out and just, I had the belief I could just convert everyone, right? I'm like, yep, anyone, I'm the sharpest shooter out there, right? Everyone's going to work with me. And as you get a healthier database, and I'm giving you my perspective now because I have a very healthy database that feeds me at least a piece of business every single week, an opportunity business, that is, I don't need to add anyone and everyone to my database, especially when I have A+ clients who are feeding me business like constantly, right? So what I'm getting at is, again, if you look at it from my set of eyes, I don't have to be, oh, everyone's got to be in my database, right? I'm controlled, right? I can value who I want in my database, right? And you should look at it like that too. If you can do this when you're brand new and you can itemize your database as you go and get over that hunch of, I need the business, focus on putting people in your database who you would want to do business with. Not because they could give you business and it might be a bit of a hassle, but hey, let's just add them to our database. No, you bring them into your database if you feel like it's someone you could do business with, or if it's someone that could do business with you in the future, right? Because keep in mind, they might not be the people that are going to do business with you, but they might know some people, right? And if you like them and they're going to work out with you, then you want to work with them in the future, okay? So I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, peace.